Good afternoon, Yellow Army. We hope that you're all keeping well, of course. Welcome back to another edition of Inside Plainmoor. Thankfully, I've been joined by United boss Gary Johnson once again. It wouldn't be much of a show without him. Have you managed to catch any of the football this week, Gary?
Yes, I have. It's been good. It's been like a football festival, hasn't it? You know, with lower league games and second division games, first division games are on tonight, and interspersed with the Premiership and the Championship. So it's been brilliant for me. The wife's getting a bit fed up with it, I think, but good job we've got 14 tellies in our house, so she can choose something else to watch. But I exaggerate, of course. So no, I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it, and you're learning things all the time, and just keeping that excitement going, ready for when they give us the green light to get going.
Absolutely. We've even had a couple of dodgy VAR decisions to chew over as well, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We talked about that, haven't we? Your toenail or your ear was offside or something. It's always a shame. The Tottenham fella, that fell over and the ball hit his arm, and Harry Kane put it in. I can't see how that is not a goal. He's not meant to do that, but there's always going to be things like that happen, and some are going to agree with it, some are not. But it's always going to be controversial, isn't it? Especially if it happens against your own team.
Yeah, they always used to side with the attacking side, but do you think it's now gone too much in the other direction?
Absolutely. It's definitely gone with the defending teams as far as, fans want to see goals. And the problem is when a goal goes in, everybody wants to celebrate heartily. But you can't celebrate heartily nowadays because, you're always thinking, oh, well, it might go to the VAR. Is it a goal, is it not? And you don't get that, real surge of excitement of a goal because you've always got that little bit in your mind of, I wonder if the referee's going to, refer to the VAR for any reason. So it's taken that away a little bit. Having said that, defenders can be unlucky when there's a strike at goal and they shut their eyes and turn their back and it hits the back of their arm and it's a penalty. So there's that as well. So it's slowed up the game a little bit and probably taken away a little bit of the personal side of things. And it'd be interesting, if they had a vote with supporters and managers and players as to whether they would still want to keep VAR or whether they would rather go back to the old system.
Yeah, because it's very black and white now, isn't it? There's no room for a referee to make his own opinion.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you look at David Moyes' West Ham's goal. Done very well to get a goal ahead. That was against Tottenham, I think, as well. And then all of a sudden, they celebrate. The manager celebrates on the line, etc. And all of a sudden, a great goal turns into no goal. But I still think there's got to be. I like the human element because sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it doesn't. And I think linesmen have to get better, referees have to get better. The only way they're going to sort of do that is to make more right decisions than wrong, and that's how it's always been. Whereas now, it's easy for them to go VAR. You know what I mean? It's sort of a little bit of a get out, but that's my own opinion.
Absolutely. Well, thankfully, at the moment, it's not something we need to worry about at National League level, at least. Now, this week saw the launch of, from a Talk United perspective, the club's Player of the Season and Young Player of the Season vote. This is being run in conjunction with the Torbay Weekly newspaper, and the details of how to vote are on the official club website. Whilst we're going to leave it to the Yellow Army to decide the individual winners, there was a number of outstanding team performances last season, wasn't there, Gary? Which one of those have particularly stuck in mind? Which are your favourites from last season?
The first 45 minutes at Barnet, when we were 2-0 up, is exactly how I want one of my teams to play. That was 45 minutes. I want my teams to play like that for 90 minutes over 46 games, but not even Liverpool can do that. They got beat 4-0 yesterday and would have been to Man City and would have been very disappointed. but I saw that my team can perform to how I've got them playing in my head. And when I bring a team together, you know, you think, well, he'll work with him, and there's a good little partnership there, and that'll gel, that'll go well, you know, so on and so forth. And that half really sticks in my mind. It was a great goal by Armani Little, wasn't it? You know, the first goal, I think that was. And as I say, at half time, I didn't really want half time to come, because I thought, you know, we're never going to carry that on. They're bound to come out and, you know, not kill the game. They came back. They came back to all credit to them, and that's probably why they're one of the teams in the playoffs. They didn't get demoralised. So that was one game. Obviously, beating Barrow at home, you know, the team that won the league and got promoted, we knew that we could beat them and get beat by them. So we got to be a bit more sort of consistent. That was another bittersweet game for Armani Little. You know, he scored two great goals, as did Reedy, and then and unfortunately the bittersweet comes in because Armani got injured by trying to get his hat trick. He got put through, and then he's sprinting. I think it was the 85th minute or something. He pulled his hamstring, and we lost him for some time, which was difficult, because he's a very good player at our level. All the Woking games are all memorable, especially when you win. The Harrogate game, you know, we beat Woking, didn't we, at home, 4-1. Christmas time, was it? Just after Christmas, and that was an important one, because we'd either lost or we hadn't got a result for a few games before that. So, you know, that was a good game to come back from. Another sending off in that game, one of the Woking lads, and then I think in the Harrogate game as well, that we played at home. Was there a sending off in that? I think there was, wasn't there?
There was,
Harrogate.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is people get wound up when they play us, especially at Plainmoor, and those games are memorable because of the way we played and the way we dictated the game, and the way we were relentlessly getting at their goals. So getting at their goal and in their goal area, and creating things, and then they get frustrated. So therefore, there's every chance of opposition getting one sent off. And I think we were behind in all those games, in Woking game, Barrow game, and Harrogate. So, you know, I knew that we had the character to come back. There's other games, isn't there, like Stockport away, Halifax away. You know, they were great results. And then we had a disappointment of the 2 defeats against Yeovil, the Stockport game at home. Looking back on all them, you know, you don't want to lose 6-2 and 5-1, whatever it was. And they weren't particularly good games by us, but we still, on occasions, played some decent football in there. So it's our consistency we got to get right. I think we'll have the players. If we can keep our, you know, our small squad fit, then I think, you know, we can go a few places higher up the league in the coming season when it comes.
And you mentioned there how pleasing it is when you see your team playing with your own DNA that you've instilled into them. It must be particularly pleasing and you know, put a lot of confidence in you all working with the first team squad. That we've named a number of ones. We can also add Boreham Wood that got into the playoffs there. We've got Harrogate, Barrow, all teams that finished up and around the playoffs, Halifax as well. And actually, if that's the benchmark, looking ahead to next season with predominantly the same squad, it does really look pleasing for next season.
Well, it does, because we need a 2 or 3 or 4 additions, that's for sure. We've got to find somebody that's going to replace Reedy's 30 goals. And if it's not somebody, it might have to be 2 bodies to replace that. We've still got your core of, you know, your midfield players. We don't know yet about loan players, who will get back, because nobody's quite decided yet. We've decided who we would like back, but you know, we've got to wait and see and speak to the clubs involved. But you know, I'm quietly confident in what we're bringing in. Is going to be as exciting, but hopefully a little bit more where we're not letting in as many goals. Do you know what I mean? We had a period of letting in goals, and you know, we had a very, very open game. So there was always lots of goals, whether it was for us or against us on occasion. But you know, I just feel that get a 2 or 3 experienced lads in, 1 or 2 others that we need to come in, and then I'm very confident in the group that I've got in my head, and the game we're going to play I've got in my head, and hopefully that will be a little bit more solid at the back, and obviously we, as per the way we play going forward, which we've proved on many occasions.
Now, we've already mentioned him a couple of times when we're discussing about those performances. Now, one player obviously who would have been a real contender for one of those Player of the Season titles had injury not intervened is United midfielder Armani Little. Are you able to give us any update at all on his recovery, Gary?
Yeah, he's. I mean, he's generally a fit lad anyway. You know, I mean, Joe Wick says nothing on Armani Little, but you know, so he has kept himself very fit. So he wouldn't be putting on any weight or anything like that. So I think he's going to be going last week in July, hopefully to where's the national?
St George's Park.
St George's Park, yeah. He's going to go there for the final week before we come back, if we do come back on the 1st of August. So last week in July, we're hoping that he's going to be able to get there and spend, you know, do the last bit of his rehab and his work, you know, with people looking after him 24 hours a day, sort of thing. I've spoke to him, you know, nearly every week so far, just to see how he is. He'll be working with Kai pretty soon, you know, as well. I mean, they're obviously in video link all the time. And Armani feels that, you know, he's ready and he's really, really looking forward to it. So come the start of the season, you should have him and Liam Davis, who also had a big injury, fighting fit and ready for selection for the first game.
It will be almost like having 2 new signings, having both of them available for the bulk of the season, won't it?
Absolutely. You know, that's important. We lost Connor, didn't we, for a big part of the season. He only played half the games. Asa only played half the games. You know, it was just one of those. Ben Winter was injured for quite some time, and I'm sure there was others, but Busey got injured. So, you know, it's one of them. We just have to keep our fingers crossed that we don't get that spate of injuries all almost at the same time, an important time, because we've got a group of lads that can perform at this level, given that we can be consistent not only in our games but in our team selection.
Now, whilst we're talking about team strengthening, it's of course the time of year where usually clubs will be looking to strengthen their squads, managers looking to strengthen their squads, and players looking to fix themselves up with new clubs. One of the most interesting things for pre-season from a fan's perspective is the presence of previously unknown trialists taking places in the warm-up matches. Now, with the huge number of players that are looking to fulfill their dreams in becoming a professional footballer, how do you identify those that are the real prospects in all the hundreds of CVs and video clips that any professional club does receive?
Yeah, well, this is where, you know, your structure comes into place. You know, your chief scout in Pete, my experience, Downs' experience, Toddy's experience. You know, you can't just take a letter from a foreign country, for instance, look at it and go, cool, he looks a good player. And you can't even take a video, because no one sends a bad video. And even me or you, if we put a video together, you know, we'd probably have a decent few touches, you know, because you only send the good bits. But so we have to know them. You know, we've got to know them. We wouldn't just take it from a letter or from somebody sending a video in. You know, we've got to know them. Identify what positions we want first, and then take it from there. So we will be bringing in a couple of lads that we have identified, that we've asked to have a look at. Not many players like the idea of coming on trial, as it were. So we tend to say, come and have a look at us at the same time as we're having a look at you. You know, we sort of make it a two-way thing. So we have got players to do that, and we'll play in the first couple of games pre-season. And that's good because you know that those players actually would like to come to you. We've done a bit of homework, so we're pleased with that. I used to say you never pick anyone up from a letter that gets sent in. But when I was at Cheltenham, we had a lad called Danny Parslow, and he was playing for York at the time, and he sent a letter in, and me and Downsy looked at it, and we said, no, we probably won't need him, blah, blah, blah. So we tore it up and put it in the bin, and we had a game the following day, and we was a centre-half short. And I said to Downsy, what happened to that centre-half that wrote in? Because he'd played with York, and he was okay, and I thought, you know, he wouldn't let us down. And Downsy said, he put it in the bin. So we got it out the bin, put it together so that we could find his, and Daniel Parslow will be smiling now, he's listening to this. We put it together, found his phone number, rang him, and he was a fantastic player for us and helped us unbelievably. Played in most of the games, nearly all the games in our promotion season 2 or 3 seasons ago. So I'm not able to say now you never get anyone from a letter, because I did. And Daniel Parslow was, you know, it was the best letter we've ever received, because he did fantastic for us.
Well, it just goes to show that it is always worth making that inquiry. Now, we've also, as we've done in previous weeks, had some impact from the Yellow Army this week. We've got a very interesting question I'm going to fire past you in a minute, Gary. But first of all, we'd also like to wish a happy retirement to a huge Torquay United fan by the name of Vaughan Hillier-Nichols. Now, he's been a head teacher of Hewish Primary School in Somerset for 26 years. And he's been a season ticket at Torquay United for many years also. So we're just wondering whether you could just wish Vaughan a happy retirement.
Well, easy. I wish you a very happy retirement, Vaughan. Thanks for your support over the years, and hopefully you'll have a bit more time to watch us play. And I'm sure your retirement has come at a good time for you. I'm sure it's not an early one or a too late one. And I'll say enjoy your retirement, because you've probably earned it. And thanks for your support. And hopefully I'll bump into you when we start the games.
Absolutely, and we can all echo that. Happy retirement, Vaughan, and we hope to see you back playing on not too distant future. We've also had a very interesting question here from Pete Forden. Now, so you like this one, Gary. It says here, considering the amount of success that you've had in the lower leagues, with many different clubs.
I like it already. I like it already. Yeah, go on, man.
Yeah, well done, Pete. With many different clubs, are you surprised that you've never got the chance to manage in the Premier League, the highest level in the domestic game? And he goes on to say the skill set is surely the same. Personally, I'm surprised that a major club has never taken a punt. Have you ever had an approach? Now, Gary, I've had a little bit of a look into this, and prior to the 2008 Championship playoff final, I hope you won't mind me bringing this up, that 2 ex-England managers were amongst those that were showering you with praise. We had the late, great Graham Taylor, of course, who you know very well. And he was quoted as saying, if you ask me to name the top 12 managers in the country, I'd say that Gary Johnson is knocking on the door of becoming one of them. Sam Allardyce, who was also England manager, was in the studio with Sky on that occasion, goes even further. He says, I think that he's one of the most outstanding managers in the country at the moment, and then follows that up by saying, what more does an English manager have to do to get the chance of managing in the Premiership? This guy should have been plucked out and put in the Premiership a long time ago. So now you've heard all of that. Tell us, Gary. What do you think?
Oh, I appreciate that, Don. Well done, mate. You can be my agent from here on in. Well, for somebody who wasn't a sort of like a famous footballer, if you like, you know, it was. I played most of my football in Sweden at the time when I was younger. I was at Watford as a young boy, but went out to Sweden and played in many reserve games when it used to be the football combination, and never quite broke through. to first teams. So if you're not known, you have to go through another route if you can. Whereas, you know, often players get jobs because they've been a player at that club, you know, or they start off as an assistant at the higher clubs, Premier League clubs, and then work their way through that way. But as time has gone on, a lot more foreign managers that are very experienced, either in Europe or in England, tend to get the jobs. And the best way for somebody like myself to get a Premier League job was probably the route that Bristol City nearly took me, and that is to take a team into the Premiership. And that's, you know, and that's probably how English players have got their best opportunity, unless they're, you know, really well known, etc. So it's we got within that, you know, the playoff final against Hull, which I think is when Graham and Sam Allardyce mentioned those nice things. So, you know, we was very close. We got beat 1-0, and a few things didn't quite work for us. But, you know, that was the opportunity, if you like. Now, you know, I'm not retiring like Vaughan anytime soon. So, you know, we who knows? You know, I'll try and get Torquay as far as we can go, and there's still room for improvement, that's for sure. So I'm looking forward to that. But generally, to get to the Premiership, you're going to have to take a team in from the Championship into Premiership. The closer cut time, you know, I've enjoyed all my clubs that I've been at, and I wouldn't really change much over the, you know, I've had a 30-year career, so and I'm still in it, and I'm still enjoying it, and you know, it's I don't regret anything. I'd like to have got to that Premiership, but I didn't, and you know, in the end, I've stayed in football and still enjoyed it.
It is interesting though, Sam Allardyce mentioned. I mean, this makes me feel old. That's 12 years ago. I remember it very, very clearly, and he's saying then about English managers not always being given a chance to manage in the Premiership, but that's still something that we hear nowadays, isn't it?
It is, and there's only a handful of managers that are English in the Premiership. You know, Sam, you know, was lucky enough to do very well, and obviously and gets a job in the Premiership every so often. You know, whether he's retired now or not, I'm not quite sure, but he's still out there. Yeah, so it does become more and more difficult because Premiership clubs are often owned by foreign owners as well. So they, you know, pick their own, on occasions, they'll pick their own nationality as a manager. And on other occasions, they'll go and try and get the best in Europe, as the Premier League is, you know, the strongest league in Europe. So it's, you know, who knows? It would have been, you know, great to have had an opportunity, but I've not regretted anything that I've done.
Well, thank you very much for that question, Pete. That was a really good question.
Yeah, nice one.
Just before, I think in 2014, you were recognised by the Football League with a special achievement award for getting Yeovil in the Championship as well. I seem to remember. Is that right?
Yeah. You're doing great, Tom. I'm expecting a few phone calls after this. Top club.
I don't think that'll go down well at all.
Yeah, appreciate it. No, it won't go down well at Torquay, I hope. Anyway, unless they want to get rid of me. But yeah, it was what was it? An achievement award, wasn't it? And it was a great honour, a nice honour, because it was getting Yeovil from the conference and over 2 spells into the Championship. And you know, obviously we was on a very small budget compared to other Championship sides. So to go from the First Division to the Championship was no mean feat, which is why they gave me the Manager's Achievement Award, which I'm very proud of.
Well, again, thank you very much for that, Pete. It gave us a chance to reflect on.
Yeah, any more like that?
Well, I'm sure there's going to be lots more happy times and successful times coming at Plainmoor, and I know the Yellow Army will be hoping so too. Well, thank you again, Gary, for joining us again today. And to the Yellow Army, we'll say part as we always do. Take care, keep safe, and we look forward to see you all again very, very soon.
Yes, we do. Cheers, Tom.